From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Friday, October 25th. Expected to be a cloudy day with some showers out there. Potential for a couple of rumbles of thunder, too. We really need it. It's been a while since we've had rain. Unfortunately, this is not going to put a huge dent in our drought problem. In the Delphi Murders trial, what took investigators so long to follow up on a tip about suspect Richard Allen? That was the main focus of testimony yesterday in court. IT-Mate's Kyla Russell breaks down what the lead investigator heard in what's become known as the Bridge Guy video.
The man who searched Richard Allen's home shows new photos to the jury, and despite having found his gun and over 24 box cutters and knives, he said that nothing overtly ties Richard Allen to the scene. The search happened in October of 2022, just 5 weeks after a years-old missing tip led investigators to Allen. Indiana State Police Detective Dave Vito helped with that. In the search, they found his gun in the nightstand, a gun case, and 2 rounds of ammunition. They also found 12 phones, 2 pagers, and 2 SD cards. A coat that matched the description of Bridge Guy was also found in a closet, all of it tested and none of it linking him to the case, according to Vito. And during the search, State Police Lieutenant Jerry Holman testified to sitting in the car with Allen while they combed through his stuff. Holman said he asked Allen if he wanted to fill out a form for damaged items during the search. He said Allen told him, "It doesn't matter, and it's over." The jury also saw the gun they found inside Allen's house. And new testimony from the Carroll County Sheriff on what he thinks the girls said in that well-known Bridge Guy video. As a man approaches the girls, Tony Liggett thinks Abby says, "Is he right here? Don't leave me up here." And then Libby chimes in to say, "This is the path. That be a gun. There's no path here." Bridge Guy is then heard saying, "Guys," and one of the girls timidly says, "Hi." And then comes the line we all know. Bridge Guy says, "Down the hill."
Guys, down the hill.
Liggett's recount is slightly different from what one expert brought in earlier this week by the prosecution thinks was said. And the defense believes no witnesses should be testifying to what they believe is said in the video. Instead, they should allow the jury to hear it and decide the words for themselves. We expect to continue hearing from witnesses that can speak more to that video and to the details that happened after Richard Allen's arrest. Reporting here in Delphi, I'm Kyla Russell for Wish TV. WishTV.com or follow us on Facebook for updates.
An officer with the State Department of Natural Resources tells the jury about an encounter with Richard Allen shortly after the Delphi murders. Dan Doolin testified yesterday that he spoke with Richard Allen in 2017 in the parking lot of a grocery store. Doolin says Allen told him that he saw 3 girls on the trail when he was walking. The notes from that conversation were not revisited for another 5 years. When the tip about Allen was rediscovered years later, Allen agreed to a police interview. Delphi's former police chief testified that at that interview, Allen again confirmed that he had walked along the trail in Delphi that day. Allen was shown the picture of the Bridge Guy by police, to which Allen claimed that if one of the girls took the picture, there's no way that it could have been him. Police also say Allen agreed to let investigators search his phone before backtracking and ending the interview entirely. Judge Francis Gould has denied an effort by Richard Allen's defense team to get former Carroll County prosecutor Robert Ives to take the stand. Ives retired 9 months after the murders and had argued that he would only have speculative information on the case. The judge has not ruled yet on the defense team's motion to introduce evidence of Odinism into the trial. The judge had previously, though, barred the defense from doing so. You can keep up with key moments from the Delphi Murders trial on WishTV.com. In Your Vote 2024, it's the last debate for the candidates for governor before Election Day. The 3 candidates faced off yesterday to make their pitch to voters on a variety of issues.
Hoosier voters asked about gun rights and gun regulations, wondering how you'll balance support for Second Amendment rights with concerns about gun violence. What changes, if any, do you support to Indiana's gun laws?
So I'm the only candidate here that has been responsible for an entire school system or who has watched kindergartners do a drill because of the fear of someone coming into school with a weapon. And there are a lot of things we can do. First of all, listen to the state police, and we'll bring back common sense and balance to the state. It's about making sure that we're looking at common sense gun violence prevention measures that are widely supported by Republicans and Democrats. I own a gun. I am very pro Second Amendment. No one's coming for anybody's guns. It's about responsible ownership and responsible use. It's also about making sure that we get the care that is needed when people are vulnerable and may need assistance in area of mental health. My opponent has called for the red flag laws to go away, or maybe his lieutenant governor opponent, and that is dangerous. Why would we take away something that the state of Indiana has said makes a huge difference in the safety of our communities? That's just irresponsible.
Red flag laws have worked well here. They need to be actually improved, though, because that is the first step to keep guns out of the hands of the mentally ill, or folks that are having trouble with some issue and they resort to a gun. Keeping guns out of the hands of criminals. But when it comes to our Second Amendment rights, I'm the one that has defended that with a spotless record, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try hard to make sure, with everything you have at your disposal, to make sure criminals do not get guns and the mentally ill. And the red flag law is designed for that, and I've been for that ever since we've had it here.
First of all, let's establish something that is just common sense fact. Criminals don't follow laws. That's why they're criminals. So when we say that we need more gun laws to stop criminal activity, that's just not common sense. If we want to make sure that our children are safe at school, we need to make sure that our schools are as secure as 200 West Washington Street, the State House down here in Indianapolis. I oppose the red flag laws because we're that close to our government telling us that because we go to this church or we're a member of that organization, that we have a mental defect and therefore they need to take our guns. That scares me, folks, and it should scare you too.
We have more coverage of that campaign at wishtv.com, including the first debate between the three candidates that aired here on Wish TV. An unusual question is on the ballot this year. It asks voters if they want to remove the superintendent of public instruction from the state's line of succession. The superintendent's position is the seventh and final person in line of succession to take the governor's office should the elected governor die in office, but the superintendent of public instruction no longer exists. The position was replaced in 2021 by the Secretary of Education appointed by the governor.
The governor now appoints the superintendent or the Secretary of Education. That person could be one that's not even known to the public, never held office, never run for office. And under the current law, under a remote circumstance, they could end up as our governor. That's just wrong.
The measure is the only statewide ballot question this election. In Pacers Watch, the team is showing off the court design that will be used for the NBA Cup games. This is the second year the league is doing the in-season tournament. Pacers were runner-up in the tournament last year. Court features the iconic boom baby phrase used by the late coach and broadcaster Slick Leonard. Pacers will first use this court on November 15th when they take on the Miami Heat. Tough break for new Pacer James Wiseman. The team says that they are looking at treatment options after he tore his left Achilles 5 minutes into the Pacers' regular season debut against the Pistons on Wednesday. The 7-footer came to the Pacers in the offseason after spending the last 2 years in Detroit. There's no word yet on how long he may be out. In Colts Watch, star running back Jonathan Taylor is close to returning to the field. Taylor was in full participation practice yesterday. He has missed the last 2 games after hurting his ankle against the Steelers.
It's a great feeling, you're sitting there watching, you're not watching your guys go out there and just have fun and run around. But you're definitely supporting them, but you want to be out there with them.
Taylor's potential return comes ahead of a crucial game against the division rival, Houston Texans, this Sunday. You'll be able to fearlessly enjoy some special drinks and snacks if you get to see Taylor Swift when the Eras Tour arrives in Indianapolis. We are now just 1 week away from the pop star's series of concerts taking place here. Our very own Taylor Swift expert, Danielle Zokoski, gets a first-hand look at some of the treats with the food team from Lucas Oil Stadium.
Welcome in. We're here with two members of Sodexo Live, the food vendor for Lucas Oil Stadium, here to tell us a little bit more about how they're getting ready for the Taylor Swift concert. Now, I have Madison Hodgin here, who is the suites manager over at Lucas Oil, going to tell us a little bit more about the food options and what you guys are doing for Taylor Swift.
Yes, we are thrilled to host the groundbreaking tour coming in. And we're hoping that when fans are walking down the street and they see her on the JW and the different street signs, that when they come in the stadium, they still get that special element added to it. So we do have our standard menu items that are very popular that we have at Colts games, but we've changed the names a little bit to them to add that extra flair. So we do have our Back to December burger and our Fearless fries, and a few other special touches to our menu items.
I hear you're a big Swiftie.
I am.
How excited are you to be a part of this record-breaking tour?
Thrilled. A year and a half ago, I was in college trying to get tickets, and now here we are being able to actually work it. We're very fortunate for the events that Indy is able to be a host for in Lucas Oil Stadium, and this will be one of the biggest.
Absolutely. Well, Madison, Dave, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have continuing coverage of the Taylor Swift concert and everything leading up to it in the next week as we wait for Taylor Swift to come right here to the Circle City.
The Irvington Halloween Festival is hosting their annual zombie bike ride tonight. Organizers say families can dress in their Living Dead best and cycle through the neighborhood. The route starts at the Irvington Library at 6:30 this evening and ends at Irving Circle. The ride is free and open to all ages. This has been your News 8 Daily. From Wish TV, I'm Hannah Mordeau. Watch us on wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook for updates.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.